Vietnam Crypto Insights, and we have a special guest here, my man Olivier from TTT Labs right here in Vietnam, man. How's it going, buddy?
Good, Terence. Thanks for having me, man. Very, very happy to be here and be chatting with you once again. This time async.
Yeah, man.
And yeah,
I see you all the time, man, and the rest of the team at all the different events here. So I thought it'd be a good idea to bring you on here, man, so we could talk about some other aspects of crypto. Something we really don't get into too much on the show, but I think it's a good thing because a lot of people are not aware of, the intricacies of blockchain and crypto and the big money aspects. So you work with the small man, you work with the small money people too, right? Just give me a background. Yeah. I didn't even know the official name of your company until you sent me the email to do the show.
That's right.
We probably both slaughter in the Vietnamese, but that's
right. We both butchered. Yeah, exactly. So it's Teen Time. Yeah, which is basically cryptocurrency in Vietnamese. So it's cryptocurrency.com basically.
But, Tell me about what you guys do at TTT Labs and your role there.
Yeah. Okay. So TTT Labs is a validator business. So we basically secure these proof of stake blockchains, which is generally what most blockchains are now. We've sort of moved from proof of work, which was you had Bitcoin and you'd have to buy these massive hardware machines and they would be running cryptographical they'd be solving cryptographical problems, and then the first node or validator to solve it would verify the block, the transactions, and then they get the reward, which is the Bitcoin. And it's just, that was sort of the traditional way. And we figured out that, for many reasons, it's sort of not really sustainable, especially for smaller people. You're constantly burning electricity, and then, every block that's mined, essentially it gets harder to verify transactions. So you need stronger equipment. And that's why you see all these new Bitcoin miners coming out every couple of months where they're stronger, they can process more transactions, and the environmental as well. So we've moved to proof of stake consensus, which is basically locking up tokens. Your stake tokens determine your ability or your power to verify transactions. And ultimately that's what, gets you the reward. It's how many transactions, how many blocks you verify. So so we secure 20 proof of stake networks right now, including Berachain, Celestia, Injective Protocol. And our job is basically to verify the transactions as you would with Bitcoin, except now it's all about the token stake. So how many tokens are staked with our validator, and then that translates into cash is basically our ability to solve transactions. So that's what we do. We try to increase our stake so we can verify more transactions, so we can better keep the blockchain safe.
All right, and just so the people that are not up to speed on all of the technicalities that you just pronounced, I just wanted to go back and just kind of backtrack. Just you're not doing this manually. You have the computer basically doing this, right? The computer does all the and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But you just manage the basically you manage the computers, you manage the flow of the crypto on the computers, you make sure it's stored on there safely, and
exactly.
And this is what enables the blockchains to function. You said 30 something different blockchains?
20 right now, including testnets. I think we have 15 mainnet chains, and then a few testnet chains as well.
Okay, and so you guys get rewarded, or the company gets rewarded for that, and so you guys do Ethereum as well, the Ethereum blockchain? And
no, we don't, unfortunately. So the requirement, all blockchains are different. Sometimes the requirement to become a node is pretty hard. It's pretty expensive. Yeah, not anyone can become a validator. So I think for Ethereum, it's something like 32 ETH you need.
Yeah, I remember it started at 32 ETH a couple of years ago when they switched from proof of work consensus mechanism to proof of stake. I do remember that.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
and so for most people, that's just not really an option because no one has 32 ETH. It's a lot of money, and so the way we sort of work. So obviously, different blockchains are different. Anyone can become a validator, meaning you could start with as little as $5 and you could start your node. Others are like Ethereum. You need a huge amount of money. I think for Sui, it's something insane. For Sui, it's like 100,000 or like 500,000 Sui or something insane to start a validator.
That's one of the critiques that I've heard of Sui. It's not really that. It's not that real. The barrier of entry is too high to be a validator on Sui. So you have a lot of high dollar net worth companies and individuals that are only able to attain do the validation for Sui. So yeah, I've heard that as well.
Yep.
Multi-million-dollar deal, but yeah. So it just a reminder for everybody. I'm gonna give a question at the end of the show, and it might not be high level, but if you get the answer right and put it in the comment, I'm gonna give you a TTT shirt, fresh from Olivier and TTT, and so you can represent. Hopefully you're in Vietnam. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna be mailing this thing out of Vietnam. It's a little, shipping out of here is a little bit of expensive, but if you're anywhere in Vietnam, we'll go get you some shirts. We're gonna do the first three shirts is okay, Olivier?
Yep.
Okay. All right, the first 3 people to get the answer right, but I'm going to ask the question at the end of the show. But I just wanted to go back a notch. So how did you get into all of this high level crypto stuff?
Yeah, so me personally, okay, so I mean, I've been in crypto since 2019, 2020, so last cycle, before the top of the last cycle, and just as a general retail investor or trader, just trying to figure out the market, so I sort of came originally from a stock trading background. I was always interested in finance, and it was around the time last cycle when Doge was pumping. Dogecoin was in the news. Bitcoin was pumping as well, and like many, it piqued my interest. And I was like, "What is this stuff?" Like I'd heard of crypto before, but I didn't know what it was. Like I knew Bitcoin and I knew Dogecoin, but out of that, like I didn't understand the technology behind it. I didn't, So I was like, I'm curious, like people make money with this or what? So I sort of went down the rabbit hole, like many, sort of coinmarketcap.com, where, it lists all the cryptocurrencies by market cap. And I was just astounded at how many there were. I think there were hundreds, maybe thousands. I mean, this cycle, there's many more than that, but just scrolling down, clicking on each one and like reading and trying to understand. And at first it's really confusing. It's like another language because there's all these terms like cryptography and decentralization. I didn't understand any of it, but I was just curious that's right. It's just such a niche thing. I was like, okay, I'm curious and I want to understand this better. So man, one thing leads to another, and then you're going down the rabbit hole, you're reading white papers, you're on YouTube, you're, trying to learn what makes a good crypto versus what makes a bad crypto. And yeah, so until about, I started at this company the beginning of this year. Okay, I think it's been 8 months here. And until then I was just sort of, investing, doing crypto for myself. And then I thought, I really like this stuff, and it's honestly a passion. So I might as well be working in the industry where I'm interested and I'm excited about. And so, I guess one thing led to another, and I applied for this job here for a BD position, and now I'm doing BD and growth. And the rest is history. So that's a bit of my background. Yeah.
You're doing a good job. I see you everywhere, man. You and Vince, and sometimes Chris. So yeah, you guys are all over the place as far as all the crypto meetups and stuff. But
thanks,
the company TTT has been around since what, 2017?
2019. Yeah.
About the same time. Yeah, same time as you and I got interested, because we got interested about the same time in crypto. Been around it.
Yeah.
So what kind of blockchains do you guys usually search out and seek and find to invest in and to put some crypto into, I should say?
Yeah, good question. So as we know in crypto, we move in cycles, and narrative is the leader of mindshare. Basically, what's hot, what's popular, what people are buying, what blockchains investors and VCs are buying. And so in the beginning in 2019, I don't know if you remember, but the Cosmos ecosystem, Atom, the Cosmos ecosystem was the narrative. It was the hottest thing. It was IBC, the interoperability layer, basically having all of these layer one blockchains communicating with each other. So it'd be cross-chain, where you would be able to bridge funds from one chain to another really easily. And that was sort of the narrative, was that in the future, we're not going to have all these different blockchains with liquidity broken or fragmented across all of them. It's going to be unified, and it's going to be one. That was sort of the ethos of Cosmos. So our founder, Juan Teduk, Thomas, he was very bullish on Cosmos, and he was like, okay, we have to go into this niche. And so in the beginning, it was all Cosmos chains or parachains or side chains, smaller chains on Cosmos, and did that for last cycle. And then lately, I mean, Solana, as we know, has been huge, and unfortunately, we weren't able to validate Solana, but now it's been hot new EVM chains, EVM compatible chains, meaning that developers who use Solidity or any other coding language, which is the most common, are able to just write code or bridge their applications that they've already done on, let's say, Berachain. They can bridge that to or Ethereum, and then they can bridge it to Berachain or any other blockchain that is compatible with EVM compatible. So that's our focus now, is trying to, or the next big layer one chain, the next SUI or the next Solana, because obviously the more volume on the chain, the more transactions we're approving, and then the more rewards we're basically earning from that. And to answer your next question, how do we choose? It's interesting, man. This cycle, there are so many layer one chains. There are honestly too many to keep up to date with, to keep track of. And that's just true of crypto in general, man. Like even if you're on crypto Twitter like 24/7, there's no way you can keep up to date with everything, and it changes so quickly. So it is quite difficult. But I think there's a few fundamental things we look at when we are choosing which blockchain we want to target. And I'll just preface by saying that the validator business, because there are companies built around this sort of business model, that we can validate as many blockchains as we can, and earn basically more money for verifying those transactions. But it is really competitive. TTT is one of, I mean, there's not so many in Vietnam. I think there's 3 or 4. But I mean, globally, there are many of these companies that the business model is validating different blockchains. So there's no guarantee that once we target a specific blockchain, that we're going to get a slot to validate that chain. But let me answer your question. So there's a few things we look at. One thing is the long-term potential. This could be things like the niche or the narrative. A good example would be a new layer one chain called Somnia, and their focus is to be the entertainment chain. So a real emphasis on GameFi and on-chain games as well, meaning that everything the player does on the back end, there is a transaction happening on-chain to secure that, to basically put that on-chain. Let's say you swap one gun to another gun, that is a transaction on-chain. Let's say you walk 10 feet, that's a transaction on-chain. So that's a pretty good example. Do we think GameFi is going to be big? Do we think entertainment on-chain is going to be big? And there is a risk associated. It's a bit of a gamble because, as we know, there's no way to know what's going to be hot this cycle or next cycle. But we look at that and say, okay, this is a pretty ambitious vision. You want to be the entertainment chain that brings video games, movies, cinema on-chain as well. Pretty interesting, pretty unique. So that, let's say that ticks the first box. The next we look at is the funding. Obviously, before these layer one tokens get to the public market, which is where you and I buy it, there are rounds and rounds of investors coming in and basically investing early stage to build the technology, to build the chain. And so we look at the funding, how much has it raised? Was it $10 million with VCs, or was it 50 million, or was it 100 or 200 million? And basically that gives you a good indication of institutional interest. Obviously, if VCs think they can make money on this and they think it's promising, then that's a good sign for us. And just generally, the more funding, basically the longer they are able to stretch out the runway of the chain, incentivize builders to build applications, incentivize retail traders like us to come on chain, provide liquidity, trade, stake our tokens. It's basically, I mean, in short, how long it can sort of survive long term, because that's what we want in the validator business. We want a chain that's long term hot, something like a Solana or an Ethereum, that there's always volume, there's always transactions on. So that's probably the second criteria: is the funding, is the interest from institutions, and I mean, social metrics. Is it hot on Twitter? Are people talking about it? Is the mind share there? Because, you know, as we know, crypto is a game of trends and narrative and what's hot. So we look at that as well. And then, honestly, there is definitely a risk factor in it. Maybe we think the chain is going to be big long term, like we did in 2019 with Cosmos, and it was for that time. But since then, the narrative around Cosmos has really sort of died down, and Solana has, and other EVM chains have sort of taken that away. So I mean, there's many things, Terence, that we look at, but I think those are the main ones and the most important ones when we're sort of choosing which chain we want to target.
Now, I know you guys have the strategy as far as, you know, internally for picking chains and, you know, making money that way. Do you guys have opportunities for the people out there that, you know, that might have the, I don't know, maybe they have 5,000, 10,000, or maybe they have $5. Like you said, you can be a validator for $5. I don't know which chain you can be a validator for $5 on, but do you guys have some sort of partner opportunities for people that are looking to join? Because I know some of the chains, they have validators and then they have nominators for the validators as well.
That's right. As in delegators who stake their tokens with.
Yes.
That's right. Yes. Interesting. Yeah. So I mean, right now we don't have any sort of program to help smaller validators become validators. I know many blockchains are permissionless, meaning you don't actually need any money to start. You can simply run it on your laptop. I mean, some chains you can even run it on the phone, but then there's the sort of the problem of volume and transactions. Obviously, there's no point securing a blockchain where no one's making transactions. But maybe it's something that we should look into.
You might not get your liquidity off of that phone one, by the way.
That's right.
I won't mention any names, but I know which ones you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah. You know. So
I know that. Yeah, I'm not gonna put any FUD because I do know a couple of people that invested in it, so I'm not gonna put any FUD out about them. But yeah.
No.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. But I mean, maybe it is. I feel like a lot of people just aren't, that maybe they don't understand what's happening on the back end, the role of validators and the importance of validators in you know, a network. So maybe it could be something we look into, where we provide resources in Vietnamese for smaller miners or smaller validators who are interested in you know, running validators for themselves, whether that be permissionless, free to start for anyone, or if it's like maybe the minimum is $5 worth of the token, or $10 or $1,000. But maybe that's a good idea, to sort of educating Vietnamese on how they can get started.
Okay. And what about the expats and the people from around the globe? You guys just don't focus on the Vietnam market, right?
Yeah, interesting. So yeah, really good question. So if we go back to sort of the business model and how we approach and how we end up, you know, partnering with these blockchains to become their validator, it is a long process of reaching out to the foundation of that chain. And now the game has sort of changed in that it's not enough to there's not enough to prove that you are a good validator and that you have significant uptime, meaning that your nodes are always running and therefore always processing transactions, and you're reliable and you're trustworthy and you're not going to do anything malicious. Now these layer one foundations look for some sort of contribution, whether that be a technical contribution, as in they want applications built on their chain, or maybe they need developer tooling for validators, or maybe it's a media contribution, which is sort of our strength. So we go to, let's say we go to Sui, an example, total example. We go to Sui and we say, hey, we want to become a validator for you, but we don't have the 500,000 Sui tokens needed to start the node. And so what these foundations do is they basically delegate or stake a % of their tokens with us to get us started. And I could use the example of, if I go down to the website, Celestia, for example. Okay, we've got 3 million Celestia tokens, and that's valued at now $4.741 million. Now, we, of course, can't afford $4.741 million. So we'd have no way of starting the node. Let's say the minimum is 500,000 Celestia tokens, which let's say that's like 500K or 700K. We simply can't afford that. But the foundations of these blockchains have these tokens that they can basically lend us to start our node. Of course, they want something in return. As I was talking before, it might be a technical contribution, sort of developer resources, building applications, or anything else we can contribute, or it might be a media or marketing contribution. So this is where we sort of come in. We have quite a large marketing team. So we've worked with Celestia, we've worked with Berachain, Story Protocol, and a few other upcoming chains as well, to basically market them in Vietnam, go to market in Vietnam. So they say we want to onboard Vietnamese crypto participants onto our chain, whether that's retail investors or whether it's developers. So if you are able to help us with this through marketing initiatives, through social media marketing, meetups, basically developer onboarding, anything they need, basically, we can help you start your node by lending you essentially these tokens. So it's a two-way transaction. It's a two-way street where we contribute somehow, and then depending on that contribution, we may be helped out from the foundation to start our node.
Yeah, I noticed there's a lot of, as I've been going to a lot of crypto meetups and events the past 3 years that I've been here, I noticed that the business model in crypto is very fluid. It's there's a lot of situations like that where it's give and take, and there's it's just not, it's totally different than a traditional business model. Because I've been in traditional businesses for what, 20 years, and yeah, it's just totally different, which is why my mind's still blown. I'm still learning. I'm still a student of the game, but you know, I learn from young guys like yourself. I think you're a little bit younger than me.
I think so. Just a little, couple years maybe.
I won't say anything, but
no.
So what are you guys working on now as far as TTT? What's the current goal? And give us a hot tip. What's the next hot blockchain, since you guys already have the methodology?
Interesting. Okay, so there's a few, and I think I can talk about publicly which ones we're bullish on. There's a few foundations we're really excited to work with and contribute in any way we can, whether that's the media contribution, as I mentioned before, or if it's a technical contribution, which is an area we're not so strong in, but we're wanting to be stronger. We have a couple of developers on the team, but we realize that the real contribution these chains are looking for is apps, because apps bring users and users bring liquidity. So it all comes down to the applications, and is there anything in the city for people to do? I mean, there's streets, we've got streets, but we don't have shops, we don't have entertainment. So that's basically it. So, I mean, there are many chains. Somnia, as I mentioned before, the gaming/entertainment chain, I think it's going to be really, really big. They're currently still in their test net. But I'm extremely bullish on Somnia, and we're really hoping that we can work with the foundation to contribute some way to that ecosystem. Another one is Monad, which is a huge monster of a project, raised a lot of money, and there's a lot of eyes on it, and a really solid community of followers, basically cult followers, who are just so bullish on Monad. And I think they're an incredibly capable team, and I'm really excited to see what sort of stuff is built on there. I mean, there are so many. There's another one, Pharos, who we've been in touch with recently, Pharos Chain, and that's basically a EVM layer one with a focus on hyper scalability and hyper speed, meaning that it's super cheap, it's super scalable, meaning that as more people come onto the chain, it can process more transactions. And basically, the TPS, transactions per second, is it 50,000 transactions? Is it 100,000 transactions per second? And so just as a retail consumer chain, we're very bullish on Pharos as well. So there are a few foundations that we're in talks with. I'll give a shout out to another partner we've been working with for 3 or 4 months. Not a layer one blockchain, but they do cross-chain solutions on Solana. They're a cross-chain bridge on Solana. Wormhole. Shout out to the Wormhole team. I'm not sure if you met them in Da Nang. I know you're in Da Nang, Terence. I saw you there briefly.
Yeah, I was a couple weeks ago.
Yes. I'm not sure if I got the chance to introduce you to the Wormhole guys. Rachit Nilavo from India. Fantastic guys. We've been doing their marketing for Wormhole in Vietnam. And not a layer one blockchain, but we're super bullish on sort of this idea of unlocking value on Solana and bridging it to any other chain, EVM or otherwise, and then vice versa. That's another shout out. But if I had to say that the 3 chains right now that we're very bullish on, it would probably be Somnia, Monad, Pharos Chain, Wormhole, of course. We're always bullish on what those guys are doing. And yeah, that's sort of what's on the roadmap, is to continue contributing any way we can, whether that's marketing, but also an emphasis on establishing a more technical foundation for where we can contribute something like applications in the near future.
Okay. And are you personally invested in those 2 as well? The ones that are not on the block on the test net, though.
No, I'm personally not. No. So like many, I don't have the chance to get in before the public. So no, I mean, maybe I have an emotional investment in them, but not a financial investment, if that's what you mean. No, but man, if I had the opportunity, then I definitely would. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to buy my tokens on the open market like the rest of us.
Well, no, did you get in at Berachain? Because I know you guys had a little something to do with Berachain. They just did their mainnet launch a couple months ago.
Yes, they did.
Take advantage a little bit of that too as well.
Yeah, so we did get in the validator round. So the pre-public round, the seed round, which is for validators to basically purchase their token. So I think we got in around 1 billion or 2 billion market cap. I'm not sure of the details, but there are some opportunities like that where we are able to invest early in these projects. But yeah, I mean, not as much as we'd like probably, but that's okay. I mean, if we're bullish on the ecosystem long term, and we're able to get some help from the chain to start our node, then we're more than happy doing that.
Well, if you like Warren Buffett, I think he said all you got to do is get like 10%. All your 10% of your investments all you get is that 10%. The gold goes crazy, and you'll make up for whatever else that you lost. So I think you guys.
That's right.
But did you have anything else to share with me about what you guys are doing, or any other crypto tips personally for the audience out there?
Personally.
Yeah.
Interesting question. I mean, I think I've covered basically what's on the roadmap for us. Any crypto tips? That's a good question. Any crypto tips? Could you elaborate a little more?
Yeah, you're the crypto guy. You've been in this long as me, so well, we want your insights since you're the professional.
Wow. I wouldn't say that, but I'm just a humble guy trying to figure out the market like everyone else. But I don't know, man. If I had to sort of share some words of wisdom, try and stay. I mean, trading especially is a game of psychology. If you're trading, trading anything, especially crypto, because of the volatility, how quickly things go up and down, I think it would be to try and stay stoic as possible and not be emotional, whether you're trading short term, day trading, or whether you're investing over a longer period of time. It would be to try not to be blinded by what you think you know, maybe your conviction. If you're really bullish and you look around and everyone else is bullish and you're like, okay, I need to be bullish. I need to be more bullish, as these guys. I need to go all in, or I need to increase my stake. Would always remind yourself to take a step back and just take a step back, breathe, and maybe come away from the market for a day or two and assess, and then come back in and say, okay, am I making a smart decision, or am I making a decision that is driven by emotion or greed or monkey brain is a phrase we use in crypto. Monkey brain is I see green candle and I ape, something like that. Always keep your head on, and be aware that we are all susceptible to fear and greed in the same ways. And at the end of the day, if you're putting money into it, you need to be aware of the risks, and you need to be aware that things can change like that in the blink of an eye, as we've seen recently with tariff madness and sort of just the broader macroeconomic state of things. So as to always think with your head, and just always be safe. Yeah, that would be probably my especially for newbies coming into crypto. They, like me, they're enticed because they see the number go up and they're like, man, I have to be a part of this and I have to get in quickly because I'm gonna miss out, which is FOMO, something we all feel. But I think that's a really, really valuable tip for newbies, especially, is to be very cautious, be aware, and maybe try and understand as much as you can before you start putting your own cash into it.
Man, that's a wonderful, wonderful bit of advice there, man. Appreciate it.
I hope so, man. Yeah.
And we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up because I think we're running out of time. But yeah, for the people, I've guaranteed that we'll give you a gift. Just put in the comment, the first 4 people put this in the comment. Just name a blockchain that was mentioned by Mr. Olivier. I'll respond to you and get you a T-shirt from TTT, so you can represent the largest community validator in Vietnam. Here, I'm actually share your site here before we head out. But yeah, man, I appreciate your insights and sharing what you have going on with TTT, man. I see you guys everywhere, man. I appreciate seeing you guys, and it's always a pleasure talking to you, man. It was a pleasure talking to you today as well. You always have a lot of good energy, man. Good knowledge.
Absolutely, and likewise. I love chatting with you, man. And I'm very stoked to finally be on your channel, and maybe hopefully I can share some insight, or I don't know.
Yeah, you go viral. We'll
viral.
Probably be a viral video here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Olivier, I appreciate you, man. And tell everybody there, Vince, Chris, and who's the other guy that I always bump into over there? Vincent.
Yeah. He's always around. Yeah.
Always. You guys are like peas of the pod, man. See both of you.
We are.
But all right. I'll go ahead and let you guys go. I know you got a lot of busy work to do, and I appreciate you taking time out your busy day, man. And it was a pleasure.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. An absolute pleasure. Yep.
All right. Thanks for everybody for joining us. And we'll see you next time.